The Qing dynasty ruled China for centuries. It was a time of great power and artistic achievement. The Forbidden City in Beijing stood as a symbol of this majesty. It housed emperors and their treasures. But the dynasty's strength would be tested by a new force from the west. British traders arrived in China seeking tea and silk. They found a different kind of treasure, opium. This addictive drug, grown in British India, would become a tool of empire. It would shatter the foundations of the Qing dynasty. The consequences would reverberate for generations. The British East India Company saw an opportunity in China's appetite for opium. They flooded the country with the drug. This created a crisis of addiction and social decay. Silver, once flowing into China, began to drain out. This destabilized the Chinese economy. The Qing emperor, alarmed by the crisis, tried to halt the trade, but the British were determined to protect their profits. They responded with force. The clash of these empires would mark a turning point in history. The echoes of this conflict still resonate today. The Opium Wars, as they are known, were a brutal demonstration of British military superiority. These conflicts, which took place in the mid-19th century, were primarily driven by Britain's desire to continue the lucrative opium trade in China. The British, with their advanced naval fleet and military technology, sought to force the Qing dynasty to accept their terms. China was no match for Britain's warships and modern weaponry. The Qing dynasty's forces, though numerous, were ill-equipped and poorly trained compared to the British. The disparity in military strength was stark, and it quickly became evident on the battlefield. Defeated and humiliated, the Qing dynasty was forced to sign a series of treaties. These treaties, often referred to as the unequal treaties, were imposed upon China under duress. The Chinese officials, aware of their weakened position, had little choice but to comply with the harsh terms dictated by the British. These agreements, heavily biased in favor of the British, ceded Hong Kong and opened up more Chinese ports to foreign trade. The Treaty of Nanking in 1842, for instance, not only ceded Hong Kong but also granted extraterritorial rights to British citizens, allowing them to be tried under British law rather than Chinese law. These treaties weren't just about trade, they were about power. The British sought to establish a foothold in China, and these agreements allowed them to do so. The treaties also included clauses that limited China's sovereignty, further entrenching foreign influence in the region. Britain, along with other Western powers, began to assert their dominance over a weakened China. The presence of foreign powers in Chinese cities grew, with entire districts being designated for foreign nationals. These areas often operated under their own laws, creating a sense of alienation and resentment among the local Chinese population. This era of exploitation would leave deep scars on Chinese society. The economic and social fabric of China was severely disrupted, leading to widespread poverty and discontent. The Chinese people, once proud of their rich cultural heritage, found themselves subjugated and marginalized in their own land. It also resulted in the plunder of countless cultural treasures. Many invaluable artifacts were taken from China and ended up in museums and private collections in the West. This loss of cultural heritage was not just a physical loss, but also a symbolic one, representing the broader exploitation and humiliation faced by China during this period. One of the most egregious acts of British aggression during this period was the looting and burning of the Old Summer Palace in 1860. This sprawling imperial garden complex, located just outside Beijing, was a masterpiece of Chinese landscape architecture and art. It housed countless priceless artifacts and manuscripts. British troops, seeking retribution for Chinese resistance, ransacked the palace. They looted its treasures and set it ablaze. This act of cultural vandalism shocked the world. It stands as a stark reminder of the human cost of imperial ambition. Section 5. Treasures of a Civilization Uprooted. The British Museum in London houses a vast collection of Chinese artifacts. Many of these objects were acquired through dubious means during the 19th century. These stolen treasures tell a story of cultural dispossession. They are a testament to the enduring legacy of colonialism. From exquisite jade carvings and bronze vessels to intricate silk robes and ancient scrolls, these objects represent the pinnacle of Chinese artistry and craftsmanship. Seeing them displayed in a foreign museum evokes a sense of sadness. It is a reminder of the violence and injustice that brought them there. Section 6. The Jade Screen of Qianlong, a symbol of imperial might. One of the most striking pieces in the British Museum's Chinese collection is the Jade Screen of Qianlong. This massive, intricately carved screen, made from a single piece of jade, was commissioned by the Qianlong Emperor, one of the most powerful rulers in Chinese history. The screen, adorned with auspicious symbols and scenes of natural beauty, was a testament to the emperor's wealth and power. It was also a symbol of Chinese cultural achievement. Today, it stands as a poignant reminder of what was lost. Section 7. The Tang Dynasty Horses, frozen in time, far from home. Another notable exhibit is a collection of Tang Dynasty terracotta horses. These life-sized figures, renowned for their realism and dynamism, were once part of a grand funerary procession. They were meant to accompany a Tang emperor into the afterlife. Stolen from their tombs and transported to Britain, these horses now stand frozen in time, far from their original context. They are a powerful reminder of the human cost of cultural plunder. Section 8. The Echoes of Looting in the Modern Museum. The presence of these looted artifacts in Western museums raises complex questions about cultural heritage, ownership, and the legacy of colonialism. These artifacts, often taken during times of conflict or under colonial rule, carry with them stories of their origins and the people who created them. Museums, once seen as repositories of knowledge, are now being forced to confront their own complicity in historical injustices. The role of museums is evolving, as they are no longer just places to display objects but are becoming spaces for dialogue and reflection on the past. The debate over the repatriation of looted artifacts is intensifying. Activists, scholars, and governments are increasingly vocal about the need to return these cultural treasures to their rightful homes. This debate is not just about objects, but about identity, history, and justice. Many argue that these objects should be returned to their countries of origin. They believe that repatriation is a crucial step in healing the wounds of the past and restoring cultural heritage to its rightful place. They believe that this is the only way to right historical wrongs. The return of these artifacts can be a powerful symbol of reconciliation and respect for the cultures from which they were taken. Others argue that these objects belong in universal museums. They contend that such institutions provide a unique opportunity for people from all over the world to learn about and appreciate different cultures in one place. They believe that these museums allow people from all over the world to appreciate different cultures. This perspective emphasizes the educational value and the potential for fostering global understanding and unity through shared cultural experiences. Section 9. A Legacy of Exploitation, the Moral Debt of History. The intricate tapestry of history is woven with threads of power, conquest, and resistance. One of the most poignant chapters in this tapestry is the story of Britain's exploitation of China. The story of Britain's exploitation of China is not just a tale of the past. It is a narrative that reverberates through the corridors of time, echoing in the present day. The opium trade, a dark chapter in this history, was a tool of subjugation and control, leaving deep scars on the Chinese psyche. It is a story that continues to shape the relationship between these two countries. Modern diplomatic engagements and trade negotiations are often shadowed by this historical context, influencing decisions and perceptions on both sides. It also highlights the enduring legacy of colonialism on a global scale. The architecture, the cultural imprints, and the socio-political structures in former colonies are constant reminders of a time when imperial powers dictated the fate of nations. China's rise as a global power is inextricably linked to its historical experience with Western imperialism. The resilience and determination to overcome past humiliations have fueled its rapid development and assertive stance on the global stage. The memory of this period continues to inform Chinese foreign policy. Strategies and decisions are often rooted in a desire to reclaim sovereignty and respect, ensuring that the injustices of the past are not repeated. It also fuels a growing sense of national pride. The collective memory of overcoming adversity and the celebration of cultural heritage are central to China's national identity today. Understanding this history is essential for understanding the complexities of the 21st century world. The interplay of past and present, the lessons learned, and the unresolved issues continue to shape international relations and global dynamics. Section 10. Repatriation and reconciliation, a path to healing. The question of what to do with looted artifacts is not easily answered. There are strong arguments on both sides. However, a growing movement calls for repatriation as a form of restorative justice. Returning these objects to their countries of origin would be a powerful symbol of reconciliation. It would also allow these objects to be seen in their proper context, surrounded by the culture and history from which they were taken. This would provide a more complete and nuanced understanding of the past. Section 11. The Future of Memory: Reclaiming Lost Narratives. The story of Britain's exploitation of China is a reminder that history is not a neutral narrative. It is written by the victors. It is essential to question these dominant narratives. We must seek out the untold stories of the past. By acknowledging the injustices of the past, we can begin to build a more just and equitable future. We must remember the lessons of history. We must strive to create a world where cultural heritage is respected and celebrated, not plundered and exploited.